Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Solutions with Courtney Anderson. I am your host, Courtney Anderson. This episode is the kickoff of a new series. Our new series is the HR HEROES Hangout. I love this. HR, of course, stands for Human Resources, and this is one of the most exciting, may I even say glamorous, fields that a person can pursue. And so human resources is a lot of the exciting work that I do in business and working with client organizations where I go on site and I help those organizations surpass their goals and practice the joyful art of business. And so I love human resources. It's fun, it's exciting, and we have kicked off our HR Heroes Hangout series with this show. The whole idea is that the people who are in human resources, they are heroes. And I don't say that with any hint of irony. I really mean it. Similar to our Law Lovers Lounge and a lot of the series we do, the perspective here is that these are admirable and important fields, professions, and activities, and so we're really quite excited and supportive, and we want people who've chosen to be in these areas and who enjoy what they do to understand that they are appreciated, and the work that they do is incredibly important. So our HR Heroes Hangout is, of course, typically for either our HR current heroes, so someone who's employed in the field anywhere in the world, or it is for someone who aspires to be an HR hero, or it's for someone who's just a fan or someone who just supports, in general, HR heroes. It's our hangout, so we're going to share, learn, explore different ideas that specifically focus on our HR fields and what our HR heroes do every day. And in a show description, I even shared, I said our HR heroes are the unsung heroes that ensure organizations achieve and sustain maximum human capital competitive advantage. And that's really, seriously, everything. Any field, any organization, high tech, healthcare, education, entertainment, manufacturing, anything that you look at, once you get beyond the specifics of the entity or the organization, you're looking at the people, because it all is going to come down to execution. So you need to get the people who are the best for what that job or that organization entails, and then you need to keep them. And that's all about HR. And I think that sometimes there's been, in some minds, there's sort of where HR heroes have been maligned in some ways. Like, oh, those are people who do paperwork, and those are people that you go to, fill out some form. No, what they're there for is to find and sustain and keep people who are excellent, and to create a culture of contentment and harmony. And that might sound sort of maybe like a fairy tale, but it isn't. And so if you go and you read about organizations that are incredibly high performing, but better than that, if you actually go visit those organizations, walking into an organization, and I have been, honestly, it's one of the most exciting things of my professional career has been the opportunity as a corporate trainer or consultant when I go on site to an organization. So what that means is an organization hires me and says, hey, here's some of our topics that we'd like you to come and help us address or improve or deal with, and then I get to fly, or drive or ride a train or bus or whatever to this place where the organization, exists. And I can walk in, and walking into a different employer, whether it's a government agency, it's a city, municipality, it's a multinational global headquarters of a very, high revenue firm, or it's a little tiny startup. It's just, in a very low cost area with, 5 employees. It's like walking into somebody's house, and you can tell pretty quickly, are you in a happy house, right? Are you visiting people in a home that is comfortable, that there's an air of contentment and harmony, or are you walking into a really unhappy house? And every single one of us has had that experience where you've gone into someone's home the first time and you just immediately can feel the tension. It is not a happy house. You don't need to know the details. You don't need to understand the whole narrative of who to whom when, but you get it. Like, this is not a happy place, and there are not happy people here. We usually try to get out of those houses as quickly as we can, right? It's literally the air is heavy with all that negativity. It's the same thing with organizations. So I walk in and pretty quickly, it's evident, are we in a happy place? Relatively speaking, are we in a really unhappy place where people who come here want to leave as quickly as possible, and the people who are here want to leave? And a lot of that, if not, all of that comes from, the very highest levels of the organization and their overall goals and vision, but the execution comes from human resources. Human resources cannot be excellent and awesome if there's a leadership structure that's not committed to that. So human resources can only complement and carry out and execute what is the vision of the overall leadership. But if you have excellent leadership who's committed to, hey, we're going to create the best culture, we're going to create the best services, we're going to create the best outcomes for our internal team members, for our external customers, clients, vendors, partners, and they're serious and they implement the practices to do that, and then they go out and they complement that with a fantastic HR unit, leadership, and team, then yeah, it does happen. I've been there. I've been to hundreds of places all over the world, so I've been there and I've witnessed and I've observed, and yep, they're happy houses. It doesn't mean that they're perfect. It doesn't mean that they don't have room for improvement. Everybody has room for improvement, but it means that we're not some toxic environment where everybody's just basically fleeing for the exits and counting down until they can get out of the misery that place is. And it's all dependent first on leadership, okay? But assuming we have the leadership again that's focused on excellence and implementing the right framework, then we can complement it with a great HR team, and that's who we're talking about, our HR heroes. And so these are, again, the HR heroes that are in that organization, that are in that unit, where they have the leadership, they understand that we're all working toward the common goals, and we're going to get it done. And what is it? We're going to go ahead and get the best people and keep them, and we're going to create a culture where people overall are content. It's not perfect. There are problems everywhere. But it's not some toxic, torturous place to go to. What is our specific topic today for our HR Heroes Hangout series? Well, our topic today is employee evaluation that create lawsuits not on your watch. Employee evaluations that create lawsuits not on your watch. That's because our HR heroes are not having some sort of lawsuit created out of an employee evaluation. And of course, HR heroes really are heroes because it's a fascinating field, and people are expected to understand just an incredible amount of information. And everything from hiring, retention, engagement of employees, and efficiency, compensation issues are a whole specific area, legal compliance with everything in the nation you're located in, and the nation that you have, other locations in, policy and procedure, continuous improvement, training and education, and then litigation mitigation, which is the whole idea of I'm going to do everything in my power to be a strategic thinker, a big picture, and I'm going to try to mitigate or minimize the potential of a viable litigation or lawsuit. All right, so I'm not stopping it, because in the U.S. and in many countries, I can't stop someone from filing lawsuits. People can go to anywhere they want to in the U.S. at any minute and file lawsuits, because literally you just have to pay the filing fee. There's like a fee the government charges, right, because the courthouse is a government agency, and they charge you a fee just to take your paperwork. But if you give them the fee and your paperwork, they have to take it. Now, it doesn't mean that you have an actual viable lawsuit, right? It might mean that you put all your paperwork, that your lawsuits against, an imaginary character or someone from, planet Neptune. And so they can't really have a lawsuit because the entity that you claim you're suing doesn't tangibly exist in the world as we know it. But they're going to take your paperwork. So filing a lawsuit is just a matter of, turning in the paperwork and paying your fee. But having a viable lawsuit means, are you going to be able to take that, and do you have a claim that's rooted in reality and in legal issues where you might actually, prevail, whether you prevailed through the legal system or you prevailed through the fact that you actually do have a case that another party will settle. Meaning, how it works is this. Very few situations in our HR hero world end up in actual court trials. A trial is what it looks like on TV, right, or in a movie where you're in the courtroom, there's like a judge, there's like a jury, there's lawyers, and they're talking, and it's fancy and exciting and fun. That almost never happens in real life. It depends on the specifics of the area you're asking about, but it's a single-digit occurrence. So, 2% of cases might end up in that, what you see on TV, because it's just so rare. It's rare for a couple of reasons. One, a lot of things that people think are lawsuits aren't. So they're just all upset, and they're angry, and they feel disrespected, and they want to go and file a lawsuit. And the problem is that they are angry, which is true, and they feel they're just disrespected, and so they probably were. But that's not a legal case. Someone making you angry or disrespecting you is not a lawsuit. So the other reason is it's incredibly expensive and time-consuming to get to trial. Okay, it takes a long time. So our HR heroes are focused on employee evaluations, and employee evaluations are, in general, these really, there's so much debate about this, and this is, of course, so close to what I care about and what I do every day. So, of course, I'm out at organizations, and I'm helping them surpass their goals on site. I'm working with client organizations and individual client leaders and managers around the world, helping them surpass their goals. And then I'm in my classes. I'm so fortunate to be part of a fantastic graduate MBA program through the University of Maryland, University College. We are a global campus, and I just am stunned by the caliber of what we do in our programs. Not just sort of saying like, hey, I'm here, but saying that, of course, I have my MBA, and looking at sort of how it's evolved, it's a curriculum, what's important in the field, what's important to students, what's important to employers. It's amazing. And so employee evaluations are near and dear to me, and it's one of those things where there's just, as almost anything, there's a fierce debate, are employee evaluations a waste of time, or they're a horrible, drain on an organization? Do they create potential lawsuits? Just the existence of them, is doing away with them the answer. So here's our perspective in general. The employee evaluation, very big picture simplified. The idea is that, hey, look, I want to go out and get people bare minimum level, they care. Bare minimum means they are motivated for something internally to come to this job, and they care about some sort of outcome. So if it's wrong, if it's sloppy, if it's late, they care. That bothers them. So they're going to do things to try to make it not be wrong and not be sloppy and not be late. That's what you're looking for as a client or a customer, right? So I'm a client or customer. I'm going to go to an organization. Ideally, I'd like someone to care. I'm standing here at a restaurant. Are you going to ask me what I'd like to eat? I'm at a fast food or a restaurant where I'm in a line. I'm online. Are you going to wait on me? Are you smiling? Do you care? I'm at the government agency. I'm trying to get my new driver's license. I've been sitting here for 2 hours waiting in line to see a government clerk. Do you care? Do you care? Are you looking at my paperwork? Are you doing your work correctly? That's all I want. That's all I want. And it's the same thing at every level, basically. I just want someone that cares and then knows what they're doing. So everybody wants the same thing. The client, the customer wants somebody who cares and knows what they're doing, and the employer should want somebody who cares and knows what they're doing. Human resources is a way to facilitate the dream. The employee evaluation is an idea that I've gone out and I find people who care. That's really almost, oh my gosh, that's so hard, right? It's like finding the one, your one. It's almost like an analogy to your one true love. Where are they? I've been searching. Finding someone who cares is hard. There's a whole different argument and discussion, and we'll do a show on it, about can you convert somebody who doesn't care into somebody who does care? For the purposes of this discussion, let's just go with the conclusion at this juncture that no, you cannot. So that we're going to go out and we're going to find people who care. That's hard enough. The catch is when I get one, right? I'd like to surround that one with a whole bunch of other people that care, because I don't want to get into a situation where I've got one person who cares and then I'm surrounded by a whole bunch of people who don't care. And that tends to lead to burnout, where the one person who cares starts doing their job and then all the other people's jobs in the department who don't care. And they literally mentally and physically will usually just break at some point, because it's difficult for one human to do what 10 people are supposed to do. So I need to surround and balance people who care. Now, they're going to care of different levels of care. They're also going to have different levels of knowledge, right? We said that knowing what they're doing is a lot of it. So my ideal team, generically, is people who care at different levels, but they all care. And people have different levels of knowledge and experience. So maybe some people are new to the field. Maybe some people have been in the field for decades. But they have some level of care and investment, and they have some level of knowledge. And so we're going to surround them, and then they're going to be diverse enough, because they have different levels of caring and different levels of experience and knowledge, that we're going to have this incredibly strong group that learns from each other, that is able to come up with new ideas, solutions, and execution plans. And that stays, right? So it's just like that. My analogy, I found my one true love. I don't want him to leave. Don't leave me. I was waiting for you all this time. Now you're here. Stay, right? I want you to stay. That's the really scary part, and that's what employee evaluations should be doing. Employee evaluations, in my estimation, should be part of, you're awesome, right? You care, you have some level of competence, and I want you to stay. And I'm going to use the employee evaluation to help that. I'm going to facilitate you staying. Why? Employee evaluation should be an opportunity, because remember, now this only works with people who care. People who don't care about a job don't care about evaluations, because they don't care about the job to begin with. They were late, they don't care. The work was sloppy, they don't care. The the client was angry or upset, they could care less. Those people don't care about evaluations, and you don't want them to stay. So we're not talking about them. That's a different program. What we're saying is, I want an employee evaluation. It's not going to create a lawsuit, not on my watch, but it's also going to be what I refer to in the show notes, sort of this Swiss Army knife type situation. It's going to simultaneously prevent lawsuits, and it's also going to go ahead and help me keep and hold tight and dear long-term relationships with these people, that elusive group that cares at some level and that has a level of competence. I want them to stay. So how am I doing this? All right. Let's be as direct as we can. Accidentally, and I've trained on this and taught on this for so long, and it still hurts me to admit, but even the best, most elite HR hero in the universe, and the best hiring manager, you're going to just get somebody who sneaks into your organization. They're going to sneak through your hiring and screening process. We'll do some programs on how to try to limit that, but they will get by you. Very few of them should, when you're working at an elite level and using the techniques and tools that we teach and advise, but a few are always going to sneak through, maybe just one every couple of years, but they will get by you because they're that good. So you're going to use the employee evaluation for the one that tricked everyone and snuck in, and they really are not a caring person. They really don't care. And the employee evaluation is going to document that, right? Because their work was late, because they missed a deliverable, because they yelled at a coworker, because they came to work drunk, because they stole from people's purses in the office. These are all clues. They don't care. And the employee evaluation is going to document that, hey, you don't care. And now that we learn this, then we're going to use this piece of paper to help document that we're now implementing either a progressive discipline, right, where we're going to progressively discipline the person more, so verbal warning, written warning, suspension, termination. Or if what they've done is severe enough, we're just going to terminate them outright. I do a lot of shows. We just recently did some on employment at will. HR heroes know that if I have an employee, they're in the U.S., they typically have two categories. They're at will, meaning they can quit or be fired at any time, with or without notice or cause, or they have a contract. Either they have an individual contract, like a lot of executives or highly specialized skill individuals, or they're part of a group that has gotten together and collectively bargained for a contract. If they're in a contract group, individually or in a group, then I will look at the terms of the contract, because the contract will tell you, how do you discipline somebody, how do you document it, how many days notice do they have, what can you do, when can you fire them, how much notice, all this kind of stuff, which is helpful actually. If someone's at will, then even though they're at will, there are protections in the U.S. and I was going to say every other nation, but let's be fair, probably almost every other nation that say there's some things you can't do because they're just a violation of either the cultural norms or the public policy. And the idea would be that you can't in the U.S. and in most countries fire someone because of their gender, right? So if someone hates men, because you're a man, I hate men, I want to look at men. No, that's illegal. You can't fire someone because of their religion. You can't fire someone because of their disability. So these types of things. So even though someone might be at will, you still need to have paperwork and documentation just to clarify and show that you're not making decisions that are illegal. You're making decisions based on getting people who care and who are competent. And so this person wasn't competent and didn't care when they, punched out the customer or, falsified their timesheets. These were all examples. So you document that, and then you're going to use your awesome employee evaluation to prevent or mitigate lawsuits, right? Because your employee evaluation is going to reflect what's going on. Employee evaluation is not going to say that the person was super awesome and excellent. In real life, they were, late and drunk. You're not going to do that. I've seen that more than I, will ever understand. Sort of these inflated evaluations that just don't make any sense at all. That's your one opportunity for an excellent organization to ensure that you get people who are competent and care that come and stay. And if one sneaks into your place that's not, you use the employee evaluation to document, you're not being caring and competent. Here's why, when, where, how, and then you're going to use that paperwork so you can get them out of your organization as quickly as possible. So they're not staying there to create some, long narrative of some imaginary lawsuit. What you're going to do is get them out quickly. Here's paperwork, documentation, you need to go. How do you do that? Well, you need to have a schedule for employee evaluation. And you need to get on that schedule and stick to it consistently. You need to train your managers and human resource staff. And if you have 360 degree, which is a fancy way of saying everybody reviews everybody. So managers are reviewed by people that they supervise, by peers, by their supervisors. And everybody kind of sort of gets a 360-degree full circle. What's really going on? What do your customers think? What do your peers think? What does your supervisor think? People need training on this. Employee evaluation should be the tool to help facilitate quickly those who don't care and are not competent, get them out of the organization as quickly as possible because they are a huge risk for lawsuits. So one of the ways that you don't create lawsuits is you get rid of the people most likely to file them. The people most likely to file them are people who don't care and are not competent. This is true. The sad thing is the people who often are in horrible, unhappy, and toxic and illegal work environments because they care and they have so much sort of internal, integrity and they have so much sensitivity, they actually have legitimate claims. They do have legal issues. They should go and take the time to invest in a lawyer, but they won't hire one. It's a weird situation in life. Those who probably really need it don't, and those who it's just incredibly silly, have really no case based in reality are the ones most likely to. But I think that's sort of human nature, right? So the employee evaluation is not creating lawsuits one way because it's documenting those who are stuck in, they're not competent, they don't care, we're getting them out of here as quickly as possible with documentation showing it was totally job related. On the more important side, I'm keeping around that loved one that I've waited my whole life for. How do you keep that loved one? It's how you treat them, right? We all know that in a general sense. And my employee evaluation, this is a Swiss Army knife part of it is, I'm going to use it now to keep those people who are caring and competent. It's going to document the same way that the other end of the spectrum showed people who weren't caring and competent. For my people who are, and those who are exceptionally caring and competent, it's going to have demonstrations of that. It's going to show the time that they, stayed late to assist that, closing that one opportunity for a client, the time that they pitched in when, extra help was needed and helped secure the outcome that was better than anyone expected. It's going to document that they, their temperament and the way that they interact well with people. That's all documented. So it's a glowing opportunity for those who are competent and care to feel like, you know what, I matter and people notice me. And all my hard work isn't for nothing. I'm not sort of here doing all this. They don't want accolades. They don't want necessarily an award, but they just want to feel like, yeah, we care. We noticed that you did these things, and it's now documented. That is the same thing, as somebody in a personal relationship saying to someone that they, their spouse, they care, saying to them, I'm so appreciative. Thank you for helping me yesterday, when I wasn't feeling well. I'm so grateful that you're here. You mean something. You mean everything. At work, it's kind of the same thing. It's a thank you. It's a documented thank you. That we don't necessarily maybe say it to you every day, but here's proof that what you're doing is noticed and it's acknowledged and it's appreciated and you're appreciated. And this is teaching people, oh, okay. Now, this is amazing that one process is going to accomplish this incredible beauty of simultaneously helping those who are not in the right location, right, move on. They're not caring incompetent. And it's also going to reinforce for those people who are caring incompetent, this is the right place. I am acknowledged. I am respected. I am valued. And it's just beautiful. It really is. So you must be consistent. You must train people. Consistent means you have to have a process. When is it done? How is it done? And people have to understand why it benefits them. But we'll do some follow-up programs on that. But thank you for joining us. And our HR Heroes Hangout, you can always come to CourtneyAnderson.com and have a wonderful rest of your day.